Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking all things facial steaming, the trend which has hit TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube hard over the past couple of years, and something I've been getting a lot of questions on recently. So I thought I'd sit down and let's talk about what people say, the hype behind steaming the face, what outcomes you can actually expect, the pros and cons of facial steaming, and ultimately, at the end, work out whether there's a space for it in your skincare routine. So if you want to find out a little bit more about steaming the face and adding an element of facial steaming into your routine, keep on watching. Now, like a lot of trends, steaming the face or facial steaming isn't actually new. People talk about it as the hyped new craze, but actually, for those of you old enough to remember, like myself, this has been around for quite some time. In the 80s, everybody reached for their Pithco mini facial sauna or the equivalent brands that just exploded onto the market. If you look up into your loft or attic, you'll probably see your facial sauna sat next to your foot spa, your fondue set, and your at-home solarium, all gathering dust, all crazes that have been and gone. Well, it is back. So go up into your attic and look out for your facial sauna and see if it still works. Now, like all new trends, people just say go overboard with them. They say it's an absolutely fantastic way to deliver just about every benefit you're looking for in the skin. It's said to detoxify the skin, purge the pores, shrink the size of your pores, clear up acne, help tackle inflammation in the skin, clarify the skin, even out your skin tone, and ultimately, some people say it can even help with things such as eczema and dermatitis. Well, we're going to pick it all apart and we're going to work out what is the truth behind all of this and whether you should actually be steaming the face. So, at its basis, facial steaming is just what it says on the tin, applying steam to the face, usually for a short period of time. This isn't something that you'd want to do over, like, say, an hour or an hour and a half. Normally, it's done over about a 10-minute burst. You apply this steam to the face, which causes you to sweat as the skin heats. People say that purges the skin and has many, many health benefits. Well, normally in these style of videos, I like to look at the pros and I like to look at the cons of including a new treatment or product in your routine. But unfortunately, I can't actually find any pros. So let's pick it apart. First of all, your pores do not open like doors. It's not like a revolving doorway where they open and close. So the idea that steaming the face before applying your skincare will open your pores and make them more receptive to the skincare you put on is just false. The size of your pores doesn't actually change materially day to day. Over a period of time, you can shrink the size of the pores if you do the right things, use the right ingredients, but it has a minimal effect. And doing something like steaming will not open the pores. I think we used to think in the 80s when we were doing this that you put your face over your facial sauna and the steam would open your pores so much that your blackheads would literally fall out. Anyone that ever did that knows it was a complete load of old rot and it didn't actually work. Your pores don't open and close like doors, and so this won't be adding that element of benefit. Similarly, the idea that it detoxifies the skin. Well, the body expels toxins primarily through the kidney and the liver. The skin isn't there to regulate the levels of toxins in your body, so by applying heat and causing sweat isn't expelling toxins from the body. It might be removing a little bit of salt and water and with it hydration, but ultimately it's not actually going to impact the levels of toxins in the skin or in the wider body. Finally, people say it flushes out the pores. So the idea that you can expel all those blackheads by causing that excess sweating, which will just purge the pores, flush it all out and clear the skin. Again, this is a complete fallacy because the sweat glands, the glands which produce the sweat, actually aren't connected to the pore in a way which will allow for it to be flushed. So it's not like, putting a hose pipe through and cleaning it all through. It just doesn't work like that. It will still, you'll be sweating, you might be releasing a lot of sweat and fluid from the skin, but actually that's not going to be purging the pores and cleaning it of any debris or dirt that sat within that pore, which is linked to the sebaceous gland, which obviously produces oil and sits around a hair follicle. So it's very different. So the idea you can flush your pores with a facial steaming and induced sweating is just not correct. So now we've dispelled all those myths, it kind of makes the whole process a little bit pointless. But let's talk about some of the other things which could be going on if you decide to steam the face. The first thing you'll notice when the steam hits the face is that rapid increase in surface temperature of the skin. This causes vasodilation, so the blood vessels enlarge, which allows a lot more blood flow to the area. With that blood comes redness, flushing, and all the things that really we usually try to avoid in the skin. So it's a firm no, please go nowhere near a facial steamer if you have rosacea or if you're prone to redness in the skin already, because this is just going to exacerbate this. This can cause a real significant flare-up in rosacea, and the worrying thing is a lot of people use it to treat acne. A lot of people say facial steaming is great for acne. There's actually no benefits for that. I've tried it, trust me, as an acne sufferer, I've tried it, and it's had no meaningful impact on my skin. But acne and rosacea can actually manifest very similarly. A lot of people do get whiteheads with their rosacea. So they think they've got acne, they have undiagnosed rosacea, they stick their head in the facial sauna, apply steam, and it causes a flare-up of that rosacea and makes it all a whole lot worse. So I would just say really just avoid it if you have any hint of redness in the skin, and certainly if you have rosacea. Facial steaming also weakens the skin barrier. So it weakens the dead skin cells which coat our skin. So we have a layer of dead skin cells, which is why we exfoliate to reduce them down. Well, this softens that layer and it allows things to penetrate deeper and more effectively. So this goes for products, but also things like microbes and just things that sit on our skin that we probably don't want entering the deeper layers of the skin. In terms of products, if you steam before then doing your full skincare routine, it weakens that barrier to the skin. It softens those outer layers of skin. As a result, it lets all the products we put on our skin penetrate deeper. Some people might think this is amazing because I get extra bang for my buck from my products, but actually you probably risk overdoing it. If you turn the product, it has the manufacturer's recommendations, so the amount you should use, how often you should apply it, and all of that. That's based on normal intact skin. If you're steaming beforehand, then of course your skin is going to be much more likely to have absorbed these products and allow them to penetrate deeper. As a result, you're more likely to overuse them, so you could end up getting an increased risk of over exfoliation, increased risk of side effects from using retinols and vitamin C's. I think makes it a whole lot harder to regulate the concentrations that you're actually using on your skin, because you don't know when you apply steam to what effect it's actually going to have, because it differs person to person, which makes managing your skincare routine a whole lot more complicated. Facial steaming also can induce inflammation in the skin. The blood flow runs through the veins, they enlarge, and more blood flow goes through. Of course, with that blood flow comes with it white cells and triggers which can cause inflammation in the skin. Things you just don't want in your skin, and there's no need to cause that sudden rush of vasodilation. As a result, you can see an increase in hyperpigmentation, which is triggered by inflammation in some instances, and just a lot of other side effects that you don't want to see. Whilst these are very rare and usually only specific to a couple of people or certain groups of people, it's something you should be aware of, and facial steaming, whilst it's just using water and heat, isn't without risk. Now let's come on finally to that hyperpigmentation that we just spoke about. So for some people that are prone to hyperpigmentation and dark spots and areas of increased pigment, facial steaming can actually make it a whole lot worse. That's because the melanocytes in those areas which release that pigment which causes that darker area of the skin are triggered into hyper overdrive when a trauma happens to the skin. Applying a whole lot of heat to the skin, which is what you do when you steam, is a kind of trauma which can trigger them to increase the rate of melanin production, that pigment which can then cause increased rates of hyperpigmentation and dark spots. So this is definitely not something I would recommend anybody do if they are prone to hyperpigmentation. I myself have hyperpigmentation when a blemish or an acne mark fails to fade correctly, and so this is something I would never ever try. So overall, I'd say it's not looking great for the old facial steaming. I don't want to be, I'm telling you, if you already use facial steaming in your skincare routine, leave me a comment below and tell me some of the benefits and how you use it, and share your experiences with it. I don't want to shock and alarm people into thinking this is literally going to destroy and damage your skin the first time you do it. People have been doing it for ages, and sometimes, when you go to a sauna, you're getting that steam, but it's in a much more relaxed environment. It's not just applied to the face directly. So there are key differences. Simply steaming the skin, I think, has very few benefits and has quite a few potential side effects. All the claims it's going to help fade acne, it's going to release all the toxins from the body, it's going to help to flush out the pores and reduce blackheads, there is literally zero scientific evidence that this is the case. The scientific basis for some of the side effects that it could induce, such as hyperpigmentation, are however proven, and so I think on the balance, I just wouldn't include it in your skincare routine. Of course, I'm not going to read you or judge you if you do like to apply a little steam to the face. All I'd say is, if you are someone that's going to be, hell-bent on trying this or want to include it in your skincare routine, I would say get yourself a bowl, boil your kettle and put the water in the bowl, and then just put your head over it. We buy these really expensive contraptions and devices, and actually all they are is a glorified kettle. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money on them. All you do is put some hot water, boiling hot water, in a bowl. Be careful, because the instance is scalding and it sounds like a total nightmare. If you're hell-bent on doing it, you could do it that way and save yourself some money, because ultimately I don't think you're going to see the benefits, and it's going to be languishing somewhere in your attic along with all the other treatments that we've tried, myself included, and tested over the the years. So save yourself a little bit of money and do it at home. However, hopefully this has given you a bit of perspective of what it could do and a bit of a delve into the science behind it. So you don't just have to take my word for it. I'll leave some reports and some scientific studies below, so you can read up a little bit more if you want to understand some of the impact it can have on the skin. I usually like to do a pros and cons, but sometimes when you just can't find a pro, I want to call that out, and unfortunately I couldn't in this specific treatment. But hopefully you find this beneficial. Wherever you are in the world, guys, I hope you're staying safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.